So hi guys, welcome to this free series with Love for Humanity. We are talking about how to go within and find your inner truth and soul wisdom. We've got some great people joining us today, and we're going to be able to have a chat with them maybe a bit later if they want to contribute to our discussion today. But pretty much this conversation has been created from people who have said they don't know how to go within and find out what their soul or their inner voice is saying. They don't really know what that even is, and it's something that some people might know really well, but other people just might not have an idea. So it's good to have either a reminder, as some people who have already said, or to actually find out how we can go within and get access to our inner voice. Most people say, and I think this is one of my favourite quotes or favourite things here, the rules for being human. Really love this. I used to have this on my wall, oh my God, years and years and years ago. I'll actually read through this, or I don't know if you can, because it's backwards for you. We'll read through it. So the rules for being human, I really love this card. You can actually just grab it online. It's handed down from the ancient Sanskrit. And the first one is, you will receive a body. You may like it or not, but it will be yours for the entire period round. I'm going to read it backwards because it's backwards there. The second one is that you will learn lessons. You're enrolled in a full-time informal school called life. Each day in this school, you will have the opportunity to learn lessons. You may like the lessons or think them irrelevant and stupid. Hands up. Number 3 is there's no mistakes, only lessons. Growth is a process of trial and error, experimentation. The failed experiments are as much a part of the process as the experiment that ultimately works. The rule number 4 is a lesson is repeated until it's learned. A lesson will be presented to you in various forms until you've learnt it. Then you can go on to the next lesson. Number 5, learning lessons does not end. There is no part of life that does not contain its lessons. If you are alive, there are lessons to be learned. Number 6, there is no better than here. Gosh, how much do we need to hear this, right? When your there has become here, you will simply obtain another there that will again look better than here. Grass is always greener kind of thing. Number 7, others are merely mirrors of you. You cannot love or hate something about another person unless it reflects to you something you love or hate about yourself. Number 8, what you make of your life is up to you. You have all the tools and resources you need, and what you do with them is up to you. The choice is yours. And number 9, the answers lie inside you, which is why I'm mentioning this now. The answers to life's questions lie inside you. All you need to do is look, listen, and trust. So that's one of the things I wanted to focus on today is, how do we do that? So many people say, I don't know how to go within. And everyone says, if you go within, you'll get all the answers you need, or you'll get the answers you need when you go within. And it's like, well, how do I do that? So I wanted to run this class this morning to help you to know how to do that. So it's pretty funny that we think that if we're trying to get the answers from within, there's going to be this magical voice within us that just pops up and says, Kim, this is what you need to know. And I think that's what a lot of people do think when we're looking at, well, how do we go within to get the answers? Well, it's like this person is inside of us that will say, you need to know this. And to be honest, there is that voice in there, but it's not going to get access to you straight away. The only way it'll get access, or that you can get access to it, is through stopping and listening. So when we stop and listen, the first 2 things that we're aware of is our thoughts and our feelings. Now, let me tell you, our thoughts and our feelings are the absolute gateway to accessing your inner wisdom. So when especially when we've been growing up and now when we've got, and let's just say negative thoughts or negative feelings, we might then say, well, I don't like those feelings. I don't like those thoughts. So we try and ignore them. So what happens is that when we try and ignore these thoughts and ignore these feelings, they get worse because they are what I call the alarm bell to say there's something you need to know from within. It's not necessarily the thought or the feeling that you're having, that's what's coming from within you. So to get access to what it's saying, you need to acknowledge first the thoughts and the feelings. Now, the way we acknowledge it, and this is what I teach, is the way we acknowledge the thoughts and the feelings is through awareness. Awareness is something that's quite confusing, because if you say to someone, well, you just need to have awareness of it, sometimes, again, that doesn't make sense. But we can use some other words to bring awareness, is maybe noticing or having a realization or an aha moment or something like that can help you to come into awareness. And when you have awareness is simply an ability to look at something. And that's really what awareness is. So if you think about thoughts and feelings that we have, especially the ones that we don't want, awareness allows you to look at the thoughts or to look at the feelings, especially the negative ones, for you to be able to get some perspective around them. So if you have an awareness of a thought or awareness of a feeling, it just means you're able to look at it and to get a bit of distance from it and be able to get a perspective around it. So when you're looking at a thought or a feeling, simply go into, I am aware that I have this thought or feeling, and then you can then go down what I call the rabbit hole within to get the real answer or the real truth from within. So, and we're going to use a few people here. You guys can type off to the side if you would like to be used as a guinea pig for today on how we can get access to our inner wisdom and inner truth through any thoughts or feelings that you might have, that you can be an example of how we do this. I will just talk about it now for now, but if anyone wants to put their hand up to share their thought or feeling to find out what's going on deeper within, to get the answers from within, then put your hand up and we will use you today as an example. But let me just go through a few different things that we can talk about around this. So when you're aware of a thought or a feeling and you go into awareness of it, you can say, I'm looking at this thought or feeling. As soon as you go into that, you can then go down the rabbit hole of awarenesses. So as soon as you say, well, I'm aware that I have, let's just say I have this thought or this feeling of, or let's just go into feelings, because feelings are usually harder to deal with. Let's say that we have a feeling of anger. What we can do, Bindy's going to be an example, thank you. So you write down the example of, and you do need quiet to go within. You do need to have time to yourself to go within. And this is where a lot of us today in our busy lives, like, thank God for isolation, that we've had a chance to have some peace and quiet to ourselves. But a lot of us don't have the access to peace and quiet in our busy days. And it's really important that you make sure that you do have access to peace and quiet or time to yourself. I do recommend that you get a book or a piece of paper when you are going within to find your inner truth and soul wisdom. So you literally then write down and Peggy's going to be a guinea pig too. Thank you, Peggy. So you write down the thought or the feeling. Let's just use anger as a feeling. And then what you do is you look at the fact that you're angry or the anger is there on the piece of paper. And when you look at it, you then just need to it's kind of like you split your awarenesses. So you're aware of what you've written down, but you're also aware of the anger that's in there. So you need to kind of tune into both of them. And when you tune into I'm feeling this anger and I can see that I have it, then and I just want to show you, you're completely out of your head when you do this work. You're literally looking at something from the distance. You've got it written on your paper, but you're also feeling it within you. So the more that you look at it written on the piece of paper and the more that you feel it within you, the less that you're in your head. You're completely out of your head, which allows you to receive in your head the thoughts or the feelings from within of the next layer, if you want to call it. And as I said, we'll use some examples today to actually go into it to show you how that works. Now, that's if we have a thought or a feeling that pops up that we need to know more about. If we want to know something from within us, not from a thought or a feeling, and let's just say something's going on in our lives, and we're like, I don't like what's going on in my life right now. I need to find out some wisdom, or I need to find out what I can do about it. Again, I really need to pinpoint to you that if you don't like something about something, it's actually the feeling that's telling you you don't like it. So you need to use that feeling to tune into yourself to then find out what's going on. Again, we'll use some examples how to do that. So you can see that whatever's going on in your life, it'll always be linked to a thought or a feeling, which will then take you deeper into yourself to be able to get the answers. And especially if you're needing some guidance and some direction from within yourself, you will always find that there'll be a feeling within you that has that need for the guidance, that has that desire to find out more. You tune into that feeling and have the awareness of it. And I'll just explain a little bit more about tuning into it. When you tune into something, it's like you feel into it. It's feeling into a feeling into a thought, having an awareness of all of that. And this is how you go down through the rabbit hole of awarenesses within you to get through to the deeper truth. The other thing that comes up when we're going into awarenesses of self and going deeper into ourselves is also all the layers we have within us. We have so many learnings that we've had over the years that are in our subconscious. We've had so many beliefs, thought processes, experiences that are locked away in our subconscious that we don't really know much about. And this actually allows you to get access to what's really going on underneath. So not only are you getting access to your inner truth and inner wisdom, but you're also getting access to anything in your subconscious that may be subconsciously holding you back. And this is where thoughts and feelings, guys, they're king. They really are the most important thing that you can ever have. And I want you guys to use them, and you break it down. Whatever's happening in your life, you always go, first step, is that a thought or a feeling? And then it'll take you through the steps of awarenesses. So, Belinda, can I just unmute you? Hello, my love. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning. So you've had an awareness that you would like to know more about something. And tell me a little bit more about that.
Okay, is this specifically about anger?
It could be about anything that you want to get access to through within.
Okay. All right. The feeling is not just like holding myself back.
That's a great awareness, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can feel certain like things that feel like a path to take, but at the same time, how do I get off the current path onto that path? So yeah, there's a feeling to follow that, and a knowing, but then there's also like the pull of the old, how to make that leap.
Fantastic. Love it. Okay. Do you have a pen and paper with you now?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to get you to write down your awareness. You've got a few different things coming up. Let's just call it the holding yourself back
Okay.
as the starting point. But I feel like also you've got access to a little bit of inner wisdom and knowledge, but it's the action to actually following it. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
What is the feeling that creates when you have an awareness of what you need to be doing? I think a lot of people, it's like resistance, isn't it? You can feel.
Yeah. 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 Resistance.
Yeah. So write that down as an awareness. Anything else that you feel around this? Just resistance, do you think?
Not good enough.
Okay. Just write that down as well.
Or actually, I think it's deservedness. I don't deserve that because I don't deserve to have the best life.
Perfect. So write that down. You can see already you're starting to tune into what's really going on.
Yeah.
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 So I don't deserve to have, is it the best life, did you say?
Yeah. Yeah, my best life that's most authentically me.
Perfect. Write all that down. This is a really good example because I think what you're explaining is probably a lot of people.
Yes.
So that might be relevant for quite a few people.
Yes.
Especially when we have this guidance, I really want to do such and such, but the head gets in the way and says, oh no, you can't do that because of this, and then you go, I really want to do that.
Yeah, so then like the manifesting process even just shuts down too, because it's like, no, that can never happen. That could only happen to other people.
Can you write that awareness down? That could only happen to it. So you can already see that we're going into awarenesses of what's actually going on within, and what you're bringing up is the things that have been stopping you. So you've already got access to quite a bit of subconscious, what I call subconscious programming. And you can say, oh, I know where that comes from or whatever, but at the end of the day, you want to kind of get deeper into what is actually true.
Yeah.
Perfect.
To move into the action part, like you said.
Yeah, awesome. And you can see that you won't actually act on anything if you've got that.
No, it just shuts it down.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
Which isn't a good feeling. What is that feeling when you shut it down?
Actually, quite honestly, I think that makes me feel like eating.
Can you write that awareness down?
And more specifically, chocolate.
That's a great comfort. So now you're aware that probably when you have a craving or you're eating chocolate without even knowing you're eating chocolate, it's because of this. So you have that awareness. And when you actually get to that place where you're not doing this, you will find that you probably won't be eating chocolate as much.
Yeah, that could be the missing link.
The missing link. I love your awarenesses today. So thank you for sharing them. Okay, we're going to get started on the process, right? So you can already see that you're already quite aware. And, you know, some people might kind of be back at, I'm holding myself back, but I don't know why or how, whatever. You're already done a little bit of the background work. The things that you've tuned into mainly is what's in your head, which is great. But I think what you're wanting to do is tune into what's in your soul wisdom and what's going on deeper. So I'm going to show you how to do it.
Okay.
Let's do this, huh? Yeah. So looking at all of this here, we want to go into, so the main feeling around all of this, because you've got the thoughts and the awarenesses, the main feeling is resistance. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I want you to do is I want you, and hopefully you've written down resistance on your piece of paper.
Yeah.
I want you to look at the resistance, and I want you to also feel into the resistance that's in your gut. So I'm assuming it's in there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can feel it too. Okay, so just tune into it with absolutely nothing in your head, and just feel into the resistance and breathe into the resistance. And as you're breathing into it, what is this, if I ask you this question, what is this resistance trying to show you? Tell me what comes through. What thought, feeling, whatever pops up when you feel into that.
The first thought I get is it's not that it feels like it's not mine, like it's conditioning.
Yep. So now what you do is you write down on your piece of paper, conditioning.
Okay.
Can you see already that feeling is lifted a little bit?
Yeah, that's why I was trying to get the feeling, because it was actually already starting to lift as soon as I felt into it.
So let me just bring up another
okay.
point, and I'm so glad you've said that, because this could be something that I could have easily overlooked, because it's such a basic process for me. So it's great for you to acknowledge that, because I want to share with everyone who listens to this call is that when the feeling is acknowledged, usually it does start to lift. It's when we don't acknowledge it that it gets worse. So because you've felt into it and you've looked at it, I mean, the feeling is what I call our alarm bell. So it's like, I'm feeling into it and I'm acknowledging you, and it's going, great, we've got your attention.
Yeah, that's probably when I would start to feel like the eating instead of, actually acknowledging it.
I just got goosebumps. You know what? I got goosebumps now. If you have the awareness of the feeling and then you just go, I'm going to sit in it and feel into it, you'll probably find all those cravings and everything else will just go, because you're acknowledging it. And that's the same. It's the same with any kind of cravings. You know, it could be, you know, even alcohol, which is sometimes a really big crux for someone. If you're feeling uncomfortable, I just need to have a drink just to feel better. Or I need to do something to feel better. I need to do something, you know, whatever. And it's like it's there, like it's a message there for you. There's something that it wants you to know. So starting to get used to the awareness that these feelings are actually trying to tell me something. So thank you so much for doing that, because I kind of skipped over that part. It's trying to get your attention. So now that you're aware of it, you're a great example of how you can see that when you pay attention to it, that it does start to lift, because it's like, thank you. Now, the next step is you have the awareness of conditioning. So what you've just done, I want you to do again when you look at the awareness of conditioning. And I want you to look at it from a place of, wow, that's really interesting. Let me look at the fact that I'm aware that I'm not acting on this because of conditioning. And what comes through when you look at that awareness?
Regret.
Great, write that down.
It's like I can just hear lots of voices saying things to me, I guess, like to put me down. And then it's the regret for listening to those, but it feels like this is going way back. That's why some of it might not be mine as well. But yeah, the regrets really only in this moment, because I just only became aware.
So let's just see where it takes us, because again, you can see when something comes up, we might go, oh, that doesn't feel good, or that's like bad, and we just stop. But we're going to go deeper. So just write down regret around lots of voices putting me down. Just write that down as an awareness. And just keep breathing. It's really important to keep breathing through this process because you are actually shifting old stuff as you're going deeper. So the deeper you go, the more layers just fly off and go wherever they want to go. She's beautiful. Mummy's trying to focus. Focus on awarenesses.
She's been very quiet. So.
She is. Okay, so have you written that down? So regret around lots of voices putting me down. Now what you do is you go into awareness of that and you look at that and you go, okay, so now that I'm aware that I've had lots of these voices putting me down and I've got regret around that, what comes through when you look at that?
That it's okay. I actually feel like it's okay. You just did your best.
Great, write that down. And I wonder who just said that to you. What do you think?
Yeah. Someone coming and giving me kisses.
So this is the soul wisdom. This is where you're tuning into your inner wisdom and true self, and that authenticity is one of the things that you wanted to bring up. So let's just say that it's okay that you've done your best, but I feel like that there's another question, which is, but how can I? And this is again how you can try and get deeper into yourself. So the next question that I can feel like is coming up is that how do I take action? Is that true?
Yes. I'm very stuck right there.
Okay, can you write that? So how can I take action? Because you kind of know what's held you back, but there's still an unanswered question here. So how can I take action? I want you to have the awareness of that question, and any feelings that go along with it. But again, look at it. And sometimes you can look within and focus on it, but sometimes also it's good just to focus on what you've written down, because it's an external thing, so you're not connected to it, and it gives you some space. So if you look at what you've written down as to how can I take action, it helps you to be this without that. Does that make sense? Because you've written it down, it's external to you.
Yeah.
It gives you some space to then bring up the next thing.
Yes.
Which is why sometimes it's really good to write it down, because then it's external to you, and it's like you can't see yourself unless you look in the mirror, or like you can't really see what's really going on. So by writing it down helps you to get that perspective. So, and I want you to look at that saying, okay, so how can I take action and completely get out of yourself and focus on the awareness of how can I take action, and you just see what goes on within you when you have that awareness. And the question that's coming through is that now that I have this awareness, I have the awareness that I don't know how to take action. And that's what we're going to focus on. I don't know how to take action. What comes through from within you when you have that awareness?
I have doubt in myself.
Okay, write that awareness down. Doubt in myself.
I have doubt that I'll do it.
Yep. So can I just get
even if I find a path, I have doubt that I'll do it.
Okay, write that down. And I want you to look at that awareness. And what comes through when you look at that awareness?
have a bit more faith, being too hard on myself.
Write that down. But I actually also got the message that it's coming from the past. So in the past, you've lost out in yourself and you didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So it's literally just a pattern. Can you feel that to be true?
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
just a pattern that just keeps going on and on and on and on, and it's just going to keep continuing. So we can have a look at the awareness that it's a pattern, and I think when you look at the awareness that it's just a pattern, you can see that that just means that you're living in the past and not in the current, not in the current moment. So if you're in the current moment,
yeah,
and you've got an awareness of doing something in this current moment, what comes through when you have that awareness?
Yes, that's easier.
Yes.
That's easier than bringing everything with me.
That is true.
So to be new in this moment, though, to do that, I suppose. Yeah.
So,
all the stuff I've written down, not bringing it into this moment.
It's a practice. It's a really big practice, but the way you practice is through awareness. So the key really to tuning into your inner wisdom is through awareness. As soon as you have awareness, you will always say, even when you say, okay, now I have the awareness that I want to do something, and then I have the awareness that I'm not doing it, you then go, well, it's just because I'm bringing the past with me, and all I need to say is this moment is a brand new moment, and I can do anything I want in this moment. You can see that you just leave everything in the past and it can stay there, and it gives you what I call multiple present moments, where it allows you to have much more opportunity in each moment when it comes up, and giving you the experience or the ability to create a different present moment in each present moment. And you can be whoever you want to be. You can do whatever you want to do because it's brand new. It's like a reset. Every moment is a brand new reset.
Yeah, there feels like a lot of freedom in that.
It takes a lot of focus and a lot of practice. But I'll tell you, when you've forgotten that, guess what? You will feel bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the feeling is to bring you into awareness for you to see that you've gone into the past and not in the present moment.
Yeah, the last time, if I could tap into when I've felt like that, was around when I was 18. I was able to do that. So that's quite a long time ago.
But you know what? That's actually great, because if you've done it before, like a lot of people haven't done it before, if you've done it before, you've already got, if we can call it a program, that you can connect. So whenever the brain says, you can't do this, you can't do that, it's like, well, I've done it before, so...
Yes.
I was about to give it the finger then, but that's a bit rude.
Yeah.
So do you think that process will help you?
Yes. I can definitely feel that. And I don't write stuff down enough. So that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
If you can write it down, it's good. But once you get into the practice of just being in total awareness all the time and being really connected to all your feelings, what you'll find is you will be able to do it on the run, like in the car. Oh, I'm aware of this, then I'm aware of that. It's actually such a relief to go into awareness, especially if it's something really heavy.
Yeah.
And really hard to deal with, and all of a sudden you're like, as soon as you say, oh, I'm aware I'm angry, I'm aware I'm frustrated, instantly you go, thank God it's just an awareness.
Yeah, that's very amazing.
Fantastic. Thank you for playing with me today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, my love. And tell us how you go, and keep us posted on your actions moving forward.
Yes. Thank you. I'm accountable.
Thank you, my darling. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Now we have Peggy, and hopefully, Peggy, are you there, my love?
I am.
Hello, darling. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. And you?
I'm very well, darling. Now, what awareness do you have? Now, I see you every week, so I'm very lucky to be able to play with you every week. So, what awareness do you have that we can play with today?
I actually have a great one, which I'll probably talk about tomorrow too, but I have a good one. And it's the awareness of setting boundaries for a sibling.
Ooh, what feeling does that bring up for you?
Well, one of like, this time it brought up a feeling of I needed to put a stop to what she says to me often.
That's a thought.
Yeah, right.
What's the feeling?
The feeling is that we both have choices to make regarding spirituality and religion. However, I don't believe, because the way I handle it is I just don't say anything to her. But when I said something so innocent and then she turned around and said, "Oh, I can't do that because I don't believe that." Then that really I thought, wow, you only tell me what you want me to hear, but you're not willing to listen to me. So
So this is really interesting because what I'm bringing up is trying to tune into the feeling, but your thoughts are continually trying to interrupt that process.
yeah, I have written her a note, but I have not sent it yet. I think it's fine, but just the comment that somebody that helped me with it felt that the last sentence I had, or the last paragraph I had in the note, was not probably reflective of what I wanted to say, and I think that's true.
Okay.
I think everything else was good, but I think that last part was, okay, don't send me this stuff anymore. But I also really need to set a boundary for her, that why is it okay for her to send me all of her stuff, but she doesn't want to hear my stuff, nor does she ever ask. So, again, it plays back to some of the stuff too that I've had in the past, where I'm not being heard by anybody, and it's either her way or the highway. So I know thought, but anyway, so still, I just think, yeah, because I should use the example of what happened. Her birthday was on Wednesday, and I gifted her some flowers, cut flowers, because Mom always loved that. My mom passed last October, and so Mary said it was her first birthday without Mom, and she didn't get Mom's phone call, and then she did a sad tear. And so what I said, and just because this is how I say it, I said, just go out onto your deck and just call her up and just say, "Hi, Mom." And then I was like, oh, I can't believe I just said that to her. But then she writes back, she goes, "I can't do that because I simply don't believe that she's there to say that and send signs." And it just really irritated me, because she's always saying that she believes that the cardinals that I see are her, but she said she just couldn't believe that. So I thought, well, I was like, I was very sad for her, because she couldn't accept the fact that this could be true, that she can communicate still with my mom, even though she's passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So I just like, she says this every year to me. She says Christmas and Easter, she always sends me notes saying that I need to be saved. I'm thinking, saved from what? So anyway, this is really a big thing. I mean, I just said, just go sit on the deck and talk to her. But I think the thing is that she doesn't know that our mother used to talk to her own mother that way. And I don't think Mary knows that. And so I wanted to share some of that stuff with her, to know that Mom always said Dad was visiting her. And I don't think Mary knows that, nor does Mary want to believe that. And so there were just things I thought that I could use more like as a teaching vehicle, and maybe just share how I believe and why I believe it, because it's way more comforting than what she was telling me. So.
Okay, so you've actually given me the answer I want, which is awesome, is irritated.
Yeah, irritated. But that's true, because she's very irritating anyway. So
okay.
And yeah, so that is her. That's exactly what she is. She's irritating. Not just to me, but I think a lot of people around her. So
Okay, so Peggy, do you have a pen and paper that you can do this with?
I do.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to get you to write down, and the words that have come through for you to look at is you're irritated about someone else's belief.
Mm-hmm.
Can you write that down? And I'm going to get you to look at that as an awareness. You can already feel that very similar to what happened with Belinda, is that when you take notice of the feeling actually starts to lift a little bit and it feels a little bit lighter.
Right.
Is that what you've experienced now when you're now looking at it?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So we do need to, I think it's really great to reiterate to people who are stuck in the bad feelings that when you take note of them and you look at them and you acknowledge them, that they start to lift already. So now I'm going to get you to look at it from an awareness. Now, I know your head could probably take over a lot of the thought processes. I want you to literally, the answers that we get from your soul, which is what I want to get access to the message underneath, is they're usually pretty short and not very long-winded. So if anything comes up for you that's got a story connected to it, it'll usually be connected to your head.
Okay.
I want to see what your soul has to say to this. So I want you to look at it from an awareness of the fact that you're irritated about your sister's beliefs, and tell me what comes through when you look at that as an awareness.
We're just different.
Can you write that down?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't feel like that's the end. Look at the awareness that you're just different and tell me what comes through when you have that awareness.
We each have our own choice to make.
Okay, write that down. Okay, look at that and tell me what comes through when you look at that awareness that you each have your own choice to make.
Probably neither one is right or wrong. It's just a choice.
Okay, write that one down. Now that you have that awareness, how do you think or feel about that?
I think that choices can be shared with people, as long as it's not pushing off on as long as you're not trying to sell that person on your choice. Just explain it. I don't know if that's.
Yeah, so what I'm actually hearing is what you're possibly really wanting to do is through your own choices, hoping to bring other people into awarenesses that they could also have a similar experience.
That's true.
Okay. So if you could just see the experience you've had with your sister around the fact that you have planted the seed of maybe her looking into the possibility of that, regardless of her reaction, and that's all you need to do.
Yeah, that's probably true. So I could probably send her most of what I wrote, but just leave off the snarky part.
Again, would the soul want to react from a snarky part?
What did you say? What was that?
Would your soul want to react from that place?
No, but maybe more of like, you know how we talk here about sharing and just not telling people what to do or teach them what to do, just share. And like you said, leave the seed. So what I came up with was some really cool stuff. I mean, I can share it with you later, but it was, but it's this leaving the last maybe paragraph off, which is like, stop sending me this shit.
And maybe you could also, if she is sending you things or telling you things, when you've got an emotion or a trigger or a feeling around it, you can use it to go deeper within yourself.
Right.
To see where you're acting not from yourself. If you are naturally someone who is here to share and here to help others to come into awareness, then there needs to just probably be no other story connected to it other than that, really.
Well, and that's why kind of when I did, because she knows all of the things that have happened since my mom has passed, and I can't make that up. And she seems to like kind of go along with it. But then when I just suggested that she speak with mom, which I do every day, and you know that, and other people that believe that know that. So, but the thing that I thought was fascinating is that maybe she really doesn't know how mom was, because maybe mom, because of the way Mary's beliefs are, mom chose not to share some of that with her. Because mom would say to me, don't tell Mary this. I'm like, well, maybe mom really does want Mary to know that's how mom felt. So.
And, you know, I'm what I'm kind of seeing now, looking at the situation from the awareness and the bigger picture, is possibly Mary doesn't even know how to do that. So it's a way of saying, well, it's something I don't know how to do, so I'm just going to not be resistant to everything around that. Especially because obviously, if she has a resistance to anything like that, she's had her own programming from.
Oh, yeah.
Various other vehicles to her having resistance around it. And I think we can go into a little bit of empathy around, you know, the fact that they don't have access to that.
Well, and that is really a great point, Kim, because I've often wondered, how do some of us be aware and get to see that and really understand it? How do you understand that God's everywhere, we're all connected, all that synchronistic stuff that we have, these signs that lead us along the journey. So when you read us that thing at the beginning of this session, that was perfect. I wrote that down, because how do you share that with someone? So if we are here as light workers and supposed to share stuff, so maybe my own sister needs to know that, and maybe Mother's Day was Mary's birthday were the places where this is where it gives me an opportunity to maybe just share that, because she might not even realize it. She might not even realize that mom was talking to her own mother. And actually, I will say that back in the day when mom was talking to grandma, when grandma had passed, I said to my mom, I said, who are you talking to? She goes, Grandma. I said, Mom, she's dead. She goes, I know, but I'm still talking to her. And so then I went and found my dad. I said, Dad, I think you better go talk to mom, because I think she's a little off and needs to go to the mental health place, which is actually where I work now. So anyway, I thought that was really funny. And so Dad said to me, he goes, just leave her alone. It's perfectly all right what she's doing. And I said, oh, okay. So then off I went. And so my father was very interested in stuff like that. So, and I don't think Mary really knows that.
Yeah. And also, as I said, she's got her own, you know, programming from somewhere, which might make her resistant. So the best way, if you want to share how amazing this is being the example of it. It's, I think, but I've just seen that people don't really understand until they've had the experience.
Right. That's true, Kim. That I do understand that. I mean, because it was a couple things that helped me along this journey. I mean, it was so many synchronicities that pointed me to something. And then I just ended up like, wow, this is really, truly a cool way of life. And, you know, it happened many years ago for me. But I can't imagine not living life this way.
Yeah.
And so I guess
some people just do not have access to this because of various reasons. And so there's two ways. The only way that they will be able to get access is having their own experience, which they may or may have not have. But the other way is by looking at others.
Yep. That makes
so you
sense.
just, you know, you just continue on your path, you continue sharing, you continue being, and even if she poo-poos it and says, well, I don't believe in that, it doesn't really matter, because you now know that you just have to be the example of it.
Right. Okay. That makes good sense. Yeah.
That's all you need to do, is be the example. And I think, you know, what our soul wisdom wants us to know is to not change for others, you know, not change who you are. It's important, especially if you want to be the example of good work and operating from your soul's wisdom. You know, our ego can get in the way and stop us from being who we really are. And often I ask myself that question. I say, is this really who I am? Am I really operating from this place? And if the answer is no, then it's, you know, it doesn't. And also I feel that when we have feelings when we do something, if we have a bad feeling when we act in a certain way, it actually again shows us that we're acting from a place of not us.
Right. Right. Well, and I guess, part of me is just that, because of being in your other class, there's a lot of awareness that we have, but it's also a lot of an awareness that sometimes you have to kind of stand up for yourself and not be walked all over too.
That's another topic we can go into, because what I personally, and again, I can only share from my own experience, is when you go into the feelings that brings up, and that takes you into further awarenesses, which then again brings up what it's really about. I find a lot of the things that we think things are about are not about that, until you can tune within and you can talk to your soul and get your soul to give you the information that you need. You'll find that the things that are really happening are not necessarily what is happening. It's about something else. And if I can just share what's coming through now around the awareness of, I'm not going to let someone walk all over me. That's often been something that I've had to tune into when I've been guided to, again, be who I am, which is a peacemaker and someone who reacts just from love. And what I've seen when there has been the possibility of someone walking all over me, I keep just tuning into the feelings within myself to find out more about it. And what I find is it's never about that. And what I find then is that people then don't walk all over me because I don't have that within me as a story.
Right. It's true.
It's very strange. It's very, very strange. And we are shifting into a new way of being where we can use these external experiences and use what is going on around us to bring up the stories that exist within us, that bring up the reality of what is going to happen.
Right.
And even if that is a story that is going on within us, that's what will happen, or that what we have to protect ourselves from. And then when you have the awareness of that truth that's going on within you, that ends up being an experience. We can then make a choice. Do I want that experience to continue, or do I want that to stop? Because often those kind of experiences end up being patterns. So what we then say is, okay, what is this experience? What feeling is that bringing up for me? Tuning into the feeling, going into the soul wisdom, which the soul will always overwrite the ego 100% of the time. And then when you operate from your soul's wisdom and not from the egoic protective mechanism, whatever is true within you will then be true external to you. And that's just been my experience. But for you to practice that and to see if that's actually true, then why don't you try it? And you can say that even if that might be a story, again, we don't know where that's come from, but let's just say that people walking all over you could potentially, that's a great way to protect yourself, is to say, I don't want that, and to be aware of that. But what happens is that we end up becoming an energetic match to it.
Yeah.
Which is strange, but it's just how the world works, and we can't argue how the world works. So then what I found is, if you tune into the awareness that is what's going on within you, and then you keep going down the rabbit hole down to your soul wisdom, your soul will tell you what is really true. And let's just do the quick exercise now, because we've been guided to right now. So let's just say that you have the awareness that there's a story of people walking all over you, because I feel like this is relevant to the question that you've brought up. Can you write down that I have the awareness that people could walk all over me? And I want you to look at that awareness and tell me what comes through when you look at that awareness.
That's probably a story.
I know I told you that, but I do, I want to find out what your soul's got to say. So I want you to write down the awareness that it's probably a story.
Yep.
And I want you to look at that and tell me what comes through now when you look at that.
I think that people really don't walk all over me, but I need to just make sure that I stand for my own belief and not respond just by just by not responding, because sometimes that's a response by not responding. But I think to share my beliefs or whatever in a kind way, not a pushy way. I guess that is kind of long. I know you said the soul likes things shorter, but it's
Well,
just
that
kind of
makes
like,
sense. That makes sense.
yeah.
And I think also sharing your belief from a place of, I can share my belief, knowing that you may also have a different belief, and that's still okay.
Yeah.
And also knowing that the words that come through is knowing that if you have an awareness that people could potentially walk all over you from the place of the story, and knowing how magnificent and amazing you are to even be able to create that.
Right.
And so if you're so incredible and magnificent and amazing to be able to create that in the external from the internal feelings and thoughts, what is that? That tells you you can create anything.
Right.
So you're magical.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, that magical thing. Oh, that's
Another
cool.
story.
There's some more stories. Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
have you watched that Disney show on Onward?
No.
It's cute. I haven't finished all of it, but it's about two brothers who their father passed, and one of them has magical powers.
Oh,
It's
we
really
might have to look into that.
Delana from our group,
Yes.
she said, bring Kleenex, it's very good. So Dawn and I watched part of it last night, but it's very good. So I'll watch the rest tonight. We were very tired. We groomed about 4 dogs yesterday. And I finished the deck too at 10 o'clock Friday night. So
You've had a busy weekend.
I'm very tired.
Oh, well, thank you for joining me tonight, your time,
You're welcome.
and thank you for allowing us to use you as a guinea pig for today. And thank you everyone else who joined. I think if you could just keep practicing awarenesses and going within, if we could all just operate from our soul wisdom. Thanks, Kristen. If we can just operate from our soul wisdom rather than any programming or anything else that's going on, it's definitely such a nice way to be, because you then really are tuning in from your purpose, your mission, your inner being, and that inner wisdom. You can't get better than that. So just keep practicing through awareness, and you go down the rabbit hole of awarenesses, which gets you to your soul wisdom, and it's just a beautiful place to be. So keep practicing it. If you've got any questions, of course you can always message me, and we'll be popping on again this time next week for another class on whatever the universe wants me to share with you. And have a lovely week, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Bye, Kim.
See you.
Bye.